If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Blessings and peace to you. This is Sbfavorhinking Podcast, and my name is Sbfavor. How are you doing today? It is Tuesday. Yes, it is. It is Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. It's another wonderful day, and it's another day to be thankful. And as I always say, if you focus on what is good, then you can project something good to happen, because it is more beneficial to focus on the positive things, because when you focus on what is good, you are giving more energy for something good to take place, because if you focus on the negative things, you don't want more negative things to happen. So focus on what is good. If you are traveling about today, make sure you pray. And even if you are home, make sure you pray, because prayer is very important, and prayer also helps you to stay focused. If you are out and about and you are traveling and you are on your cell phone too much, make sure you are paying attention to your environment, because if you are on your cell phone too much, that means you are distracted. So don't be distracted. Make sure you are paying attention to your environment, because we live in a world that calls for us to pay attention to our environment. Okay, we got to be wise. All right, and make sure you pray, because it's always important to pray. I always remind you of these things because I care. If you would like to support and donate to this podcast, please give at Cash App, $Sbfavor, or you can give at Venmo at Sbfavor. Once again, if you would like to give or support this podcast, you can give at Cash App, $Sbfavor, or you can give at Venmo at Sbfavor, or you can also go to my Sbfavorhinking Facebook page and send me a message, and I can give you instructions on another way you can give if you are not comfortable using those apps. Okay. Also, lastly, I want to remind you to support Feeding America. Feeding America is a great organization that provides food for families across the nation. You can find out more about that organization at feedingamerica.org. Once again, please support Feeding America, because their cause is really good for families across the nation, because they provide food, right? It's a beautiful thing to help others. And that's what Feeding America is doing. And that's the charity that I chose to support doing this podcast. So support Feeding America. And you can find out more about them at feedingamerica.org. And I cannot forget this. If you are interested in taking public speaking lessons, English lessons, or if you just want to enhance how you speak as a public speaker, you can make an appointment at icsbiz1.com. ICS, that's the letter Z, not S. ICS biz, the number 1.com. icsbiz1.com. ICS is a company that provides different types of services, a lot of motivational content, but one of the services that ICS provides is English lessons and, of course, public speaking lessons. So if you want to improve your speech, if you want to improve your English, make an appointment at icsbiz1.com. Excuse me. Excuse me. I am human, right? We all make little mistakes sometimes. But anyway, um, this episode is just random talk. That's right. Random talk, life growth, and motivation. Just wanted to talk to you today. I didn't really come up with any specific uh plan of what I wanted to talk about today, but I just wanted to encourage you to just keep doing what you're doing to stay focused. Random talk today. I just wanted to remind you of that because a lot of us sometimes we lose our focus. Yes, we are human. And when we lose our focus, we need to make sure that we are mindful to understand what we should be focused on. Even if you're going through something and if it's difficult and you find it hard to stay focused, make sure you remember to focus on what you should be focused on. Pray, meditate, listen to something that is inspirational, journal, do those things that help you to stay on track with life, growth, and motivation. That's what you have to do because unfortunately, we all sometimes can lose focus. And what do I mean by losing focus? We start thinking about things that we shouldn't be thinking about. We start thinking about the past. We start thinking about the future too much, right? So make sure you remind yourself and talk to others and make sure you stay focused on life, positivity, growth, and motivation. If you find yourself overwhelmed thinking about something too much, just pray, meditate, talk to someone, but don't just sit by yourself and keep thinking about the same thing. Don't do that. Because if you're sitting alone and you're thinking about the same thing, it's not going to change the situation by just thinking about it. Some of us go to bed thinking about all kinds of stuff that we should not be thinking about. When you are focused and when you pray and when you meditate and when you journal, you have to be intentional about what you're praying about and what your focus is and what you want to happen. You have to be very, very intentional. And what do I mean by being intentional? Be specific about the goal according to what you want to focus on or what you're praying about or what type of results you want to experience. Be specific. But most importantly, stay focused on a life that's positive with growth and motivation because you don't want to find yourself just wandering and thinking about things that you shouldn't be thinking about. All of us have done that. And we need to take more control of the moment not to do that. And I know sometimes it gets difficult. I understand. I truly, truly understand. It gets difficult. It can get difficult. But even in the midst of something that feels difficult, you still can persevere. You still can have mental clarity. You still can be motivated. You still can have uh, spiritual strength and natural strength. You still can strive towards personal development. Even in the midst of something difficult, you still can do all of those things. I was talking to one of my students, for those of you that don't know, I'm a teacher. So I was talking to one of my students one day and I said to this individual, I said, you get to control the moment according to how you respond and react. You get to control that. And I know sometimes we can overreact. But what I'm saying is this, if we understand the power of self-control in the moment, we simply take control. That's what I said to my student. It's very important to understand the power of self-control because you get to choose how to react. Once you think about something quick enough, or if you just think about it, you get to control how to react. You can think to yourself, okay, let me take control here. Let me focus here. Because when something is happening and you just allow yourself to be dragged, guess what? That means you are not taking control and you should not do that. When something is happening and we don't understand and it's difficult, and sometimes, unfortunately, if the situation tries to overwhelm you, please understand you still can stay on track with a positive life, growth, and motivation. You can do that. And you can do that by taking control of the moment. When I talk about this type of topic, I always think about what I went through in 2021. Those of you that listen to this podcast consistently, you probably already know what I'm going to say. But okay, so I'm going to say it anyway. In 2021, my mother passed away. 2 weeks before my mother uh, passed away, no, my mother passed away in 2021, September 2021. My daughter was scheduled to be married 2 weeks later. I had to think about that for a second. 2 weeks later. Right? So I had to prepare for a funeral and I had to prepare for a wedding at the same time. Yes. So when my mother died early September, my daughter was scheduled to be married later in September. So the point of what I'm saying is this: I had to prepare for a funeral, go to a wedding, smile, and then after the wedding, a week later, I had to go to a funeral. So what I'm saying is this: I had to take control of the moment. Yes, because I had to smile. I had to go forward with the plans that my daughter had for the wedding, and I had to go forward with the plans of everything else that we had going on surrounding the wedding, and I couldn't just cancel everything. We couldn't do that. So in the moment, I had to learn how to take control of the moment. I had to, of course, I was grieving my mother being sick and then later passing. But at the same time, all of that was happening. I was so overwhelmed with joy because my daughter was getting married. Now imagine grief and joy at the same time happening. So I'm sharing that personal story because I want you to understand that when you are having a difficult day, if you're having a difficult moment, if something is happening in your life and it's uncomfortable, if you are focused and if you are examining where you are in that moment emotionally, you can take control. Don't allow yourself to be dragged into a dark place of sadness and just being overwhelmed and not taking some type of control. We all have to manage our emotions. We all have to take control of these moments for the sake of our sanity. Yes, I'm saying this with such an urgency because I just feel like I'm talking to somebody right now personally. Yes, for all of you that are experiencing something right now, you're concerned about something that you can't control. Things are happening. Guess what? You still can stay focused. You don't have to be overwhelmed with sadness. You still can stay focused. You still can keep living a quality filled life. Yes, you want to manage the situation. You want to resolve the problem. But what I'm saying is this: some things are out of our control and we can't solve it. We have to let it run its course. And while something is running its course, for the process, for you to be in the process, you have to allow it to run its course and stay focused in the process. And as you are focused in the process, you will know what to do, because by you having a relationship with yourself, you will know what to do. Just like when you are thirsty, you know when to get some water. When you have to go to the bathroom, you know when to go to the bathroom. Thank God we all have signals to know when to do that stuff. So you know what you need at any given time if you are paying attention. So pay attention and focus on what helps you to have a more positive life with growth and motivation. I chose those three words, life, growth, and motivation, because every single day we live, if we are focused on the things that are important, then we have an opportunity to become better than we were before when we are focused. Now, if you're focused on something that's not beneficial, and if you're focused on the things that are not helpful, then guess what? That becomes a total setback, and you don't want that. You want to be focused. There is so much going on in the world. Doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter how much money you got, it doesn't matter. All that stuff, the material stuff, that's just extra stuff. That doesn't eliminate you from going through problems. I don't care how rich you are. People get sick and they're rich. So money and material things, that's just extra stuff. Some of us have less access, more access. So the point of what I'm saying is this: when you go through something, and if you're going through something, you must know how to navigate through life changes and challenges. And when you learn how to navigate through life changes and challenges without the alcohol, without drugs, without gambling, without sex, and I'm saying, and using all of those vices as an example, because some people use all those things to numb what they feel. So I just want you to understand that no matter what you go through, no matter what is happening, you can stay focused to have a positive life with growth and motivation. We have to stay on the right side of the track to be focused. Because if we're focused on the negative things, it is not going to help us. I am speaking about this with an urgency because I feel this so strong right now. We have to stay encouraged, use wisdom, understand the power of prayer, understand the power of hope, understand the power that you have as an individual when you stay focused. When I first started this podcast, I started saying, focus on what is good, focus on what is good. I've been saying that for a very long time. So when I started this podcast, I realized that was the mission, to focus on what is good. And so when I say focus on what is good, I'm not saying it as if it's some kind of just words without power. It's a mission to live with focusing on what is good. And I'm not talking about focusing as if everything is just good, like you're in a fantasy. No, I'm talking about focusing on what's good to stay aligned with the things that make you better. We can do that because every single day we watch the news, and every single day there is something going on somewhere. Even if it's not in your life, there is something going on somewhere every day. And we have to focus on what is good. Yesterday, I was exercising and I was watching the news at the same time. So as I'm exercising, I'm looking and I see the news and what is happening over in Israel and Palestine. And I look and I see all of these children and all of these people fighting for food because of starvation. Now, I don't know all the details of who's responsible for it and who is stopping the food trucks from coming through or the aid from coming through. I don't know who's responsible for it because I have not engaged in the details of everything that's going on over in the Middle East in Palestine and Israel. I just know there's a lot going on over there. I haven't had time to get all into it. But what got my attention was that there are hungry children, hungry mothers, uh, holding their children in their arms, trying to help them because they're sick from starvation and malnutrition. And so what went through my mind was, look at this. And when I was paying attention to it, I told myself, I have to pray. This is bad, but I have to pray. And I started thinking about all the rich people in the world, billionaires in the world, all these people that got all these luxury yachts and cars and houses. They got the billionaires. You know who I'm talking about. And the question I said to God was, how can these people that have so much money allow this to happen? How? How? So in that moment, I told myself, okay, focus on what is good. And I know somebody might be thinking, well, how can you focus on what is good when you see starving children? I started focusing on the fact that God is with those children. And for those of you that may not understand God or believe in God, you might say, well, why would God let it happen? No, God is not letting it happen. Man is letting it happen. Because God gave man the resources to manage, to be stewards over, so that they could take the resources, and distribute it to people so that there wouldn't be homelessness, so that there wouldn't be starvation, so that there would not be poor people. And I know somebody might be saying, well, everybody got to work for themselves. Guess what? The source provided resources so that it could be distributed. And when God gives someone a gift of wealth and they mishandle it, guess what? They're going to have to be accountable for it. So I'm saying all that to say that in the process of me looking at those children hungry and sick, because it made me sad, I had to see the other side of it. And the other side of it is this: God is with those children. And it was a sad thing for me to look at, but in that moment I had to tell myself, God is with those children. And because I had to focus on the light side of it, I didn't focus on the total negative side of it. So I kept telling myself, God is with those children. God is with those children. And I know somebody might say, well, how is God with those children when they're starving? Because guess what? Jesus said, if they done it unto me, if they done it unto you, they've done it to me. So God has a plan for all of that. He has a plan for it. And what do I mean by that? I don't want to get off track. I'm saying that certain things happen for a reason. But the point of it all is this: when I saw what I saw, I had to see the light of it. And that is, God is with those children. He's with those children. It may look bad, but God is still with those children. And I know, like I said, some people may not understand what I'm saying, and that's okay. That's okay. But I'm saying all that I'm saying because I want you to understand that even when you see something bad, you still can focus on the light of it and not the dark part of it. That's my point. And so when I saw what I saw, I continued to pray. And I will continue to pray going forward for those children, not just in Palestine, but there are children across the world that are going through the same thing. And we still can focus on the possibilities of all that is good and a change that could happen. So that's why we have to focus on what is good, because when you give energy to what is good, a change can happen. So remember, focus on a more positive life, growth, and motivation. Because if you are not focused on those things to be better, you don't want to be worse. You don't want your situation to become worse. You don't want others around you to be worse. So make sure you focus on what is good to live a more positive life of growth and motivation. When you see something that's bad, like I just explained, when you hear a bad story or see a bad story, try to see the light of it. Try to see the light of it, the possibility for change. Don't focus on the problem. Focus on the solution. Focus on the change that could possibly happen, just by you projecting something good about it. Because we all have the power to bring something to light and speak something to an existence, because there's life and death in the power of the tongue. Yes, it is. So continue to do what is necessary every day to be better. Continue to do what is necessary every day to stay focused. And make sure that when you come in contact with friends or family members or even a stranger, encourage them to stay focused. Encourage them to focus on what is good. Encourage them to align themselves with the things that are good. And if you're going through something and if it's overwhelming, please understand there is power in prayer. If you're going through something and it's overwhelming, there's power in meditation and taking control in the moment to manage your emotions, because you don't want to sink. You don't want to sink with the problem mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You don't want to sink. You want to keep going forward, to stay focused, so that you can be above the situation and not under the situation. Because everything starts with how we think. And if you're thinking negative and sad and gloom and doom, then emotions will follow that match what you think. So think about what is good and think about the possibility of change and think in a position of hope and faith and confidence. Don't go into a place in your mind that's filled with doom and gloom. Don't go into a place in your mind that's filled with sadness. When an individual thinks about the past too much, they start going into a place they used to be in. That's sad. You can look at something according to your past, according to the lesson you learned from it. But if you start going into your past thinking about, oh, they did this to me, and all of a sudden, this is 2025. When that happens, you will start rehearsing your past. So, focus on what is good. And focus on the possibilities of change and hope and things that can change. When you see something and hear something that may be negative, project what's good even then. Focus on what is good even then. Pray about it. But don't get trapped into having thoughts that's going to make you sink, because you can't function in a good way if you are sinking. You get to control what you think. You get to control the navigation system of your emotions if you are thinking correctly. And if for some reason it becomes a challenge, just keep pressing ahead, keep fighting to think more positive. Because when you think more positive and when you think according to your faith and you think according to the hope and the possibility of change, then you will be better in that moment because you are taking control. It is not good to just sink. And I am saying everything that I'm saying to you because I have personally gone through some things in life that has taught me to be above the situation and not under the situation. I hope that what I am saying gives you the inspiration to be more focused, to be more positive, to have more resilience about walking through this life. Because like I said, it does not matter how much money you have. It does not matter how much education you have. A person can still get sick being educated. A person can still get sick being rich. A person can still have problems. Money doesn't solve everything. And some people tend to think because they have money and education that they are exempt. No, that is not true. It's false. So what I'm saying is this. You got to stay focused. You got to be resilient. And you have to focus on living a more positive life with growth and motivation so that you can align yourself with everything according to the possibilities of change. You can do it. I have such an urgency in my mind and my spirit right now, and this is why I'm talking like this. Normally I'm laughing and joking around, and today is not one of those days. I feel an urgency because I feel like I'm talking to someone right now, a few of you. I'm talking to you personally about what you are experiencing. It is time to stand up and be more resilient and more focused. It is time to not depend on those things to numb the situation and how you feel. It's time to take control. Take control. What do I mean by take control? I'm talking about having a better relationship with yourself, taking control of the moment, being more focused, to have a more positive life of growth and motivation with change, the possibilities of change. So, I am going to conclude this episode of Sbfavorhinking Podcast. This was just random talk today, life growth and motivation. And I appreciate you listeners so much. I thank you for listening to me consistently. Canada, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, United Kingdom, so many places around the world. I thank you so much for supporting this podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I ask that you share this podcast with others, those that might need to be encouraged. Share this podcast with others. Share it on your social media handles. And make sure you support the podcast. If you want to give, you can give at Cash App, $Sbfavor. Make sure you subscribe to me wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Audible, Google Podcasts. I am everywhere. So subscribe to me there. Share the podcast with others. And if you need to reach me, you can reach me at sbfavor@yahoo.com via email. Also, you can go to my Instagram page, Facebook, TikTok. I am there. If you need to send me an email, I am there. Send it to me. I will be having guests back on the show in September. And so look out for some good content that's coming. I appreciate you listeners. And lastly, I want to remind you again, if you want to take English lessons or public speaking lessons, or if you just want to enhance how you speak, you can make an appointment at icsbiz1.com. Go to the website, look through the information, contact us, and make an appointment. So, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Sbfavorhinking Podcast. As I stated earlier, share this podcast with others, and you make sure you have a good day and focus on what is good. Talk to you soon.